Good morning, Mark. And the topic for today is, do we need a financial advisor in our 40s?
Yeah, Ben, I think absolutely. Right? Obviously, we're going to say that, but the life transitions that you face in your 40s are very different to those that you face in other periods of your life. And I think what we're learning more and more is that our role is to help our clients through these different transitions that they may or may not know are actually on the horizon.
Hello and welcome to Real Financial Planning with Ben and Mark, two lifestyle financial planners who are passionate about helping people understand their money and what it can do for them.
Last week, we spoke about you need a financial planner in your 30s, and we talked about how, maybe as you're approaching getting married, buying your first house, having first child, maybe changing career. These are some great transitions in your life that you would need a financial advisor to help you through and to navigate and hold your hand to navigate through these things. But this will really set the foundation for the rest of your life. So why would we need somebody when you're in your 40s, when you've got a great foundation already set up?
Yeah, so I think, the financial planning, number one, is not a one-off thing. It's not something you do once and then it's done for the rest of your life. The value really is in the ongoing part of financial planning. It's in the relationship part. So if we look at ticking those boxes and covering those bases and helping our clients through the transitions in their 30s, which, like you said, forms that really good foundation to set them up for the rest of their life. As they start entering into their 40s, life has changed again, typically, right? So there's probably kids on the in the picture, so that's kind of happening, and provision needs to be made for that. But there's just a lot of new transitions that people will be faced with. Some of these things are like your career growth and trajectory, right? Or walking out of your career and starting a business. This is the time in your life where you're probably going to make these decisions. You wouldn't want to, well, maybe you would, but you're still young enough to do it, maybe get it wrong and come back, or you're young enough to set up a great base for what's to come in that perspective.
Yeah, I like that, what you said there. I think, remember that financial planning is just not about a certain products or selling a product, or it's helping you with your life plan and helping you to navigate through those decisions. And so that's why it's so advantageous to work with a financial planner. Because, say, for example, like you mentioned there, you wanted to start a business. I mean, there's so many things that are involved in starting a business. Maybe you got to work out startup capital. Maybe there's, how would you be able to go for 6 months without a salary, or how much would you need to save up to keep you going for that amount of time? What does that look like? Are there certain points that goals you'd need to meet along the way, which a financial planner would be able to help you with? And then it's not such a daunting task for you to go at it alone.
Yeah, I think, the starting a business thing it's probably more about exiting your current income stream. Like, how do you do that in a way which gives you the best opportunity to start that new business? So we assume that this new business, you've thought it through and you've got a plan and you've got a product or a service or whatever it is that you're going to provide. But there's going to be a window where you're probably not going to be earning what you're currently earning. So we need to make provision for that. You need to evaluate what are the long-term prospects about staying in your current career job versus the new business, right? So you want somebody to sit and bounce these ideas off and not necessarily just bounce, but actually take you through a process where they can show you the implications of these decisions. So should you say, yeah, this is what your life could look like? Should you take the leap? This is what life will look like. That way, giving you the information to make an informed decision before you kind of just jump into it.
I think what you just mentioned there can be can be applied to all areas of your life. So if you do this, this is what your life will look like, or if you do that, this is what it'll look like. So things like immigration, that can also be taken into consideration. If you go here, this is what it could look like. Maybe also looking after aged parents, you got to factor that into your budget. So what does that look like going forward? Kids starting to start university at the same time. So now you got that sandwich. What does that impact have on you? And I think seeing that and being able to cater for it and make those adjustments is hugely valuable to you.
Definitely, Ben. I think those points that you've outlined there kind of answer your question. Why do I need a financial plan in my 40s? Because these are the decisions and the transitions you're going to be faced with. Caring for your parents. If you're in your 40s, your parents are earliest 60, right? But they're heading down a path. What does that path look like? Have they made sufficient provision? Because if they haven't, it's going to be your problem. So we need to factor that in. We can't be naive about it. Just factor it in, right? So there's a cash flow event or a lump sum event for caring for your parents. Immigration is massively relevant, especially to our clients in South Africa. Also, from a perspective of being able to work remotely, right? So being a digital nomad, and a lot of European countries are offering the ability to almost get a digital nomad visa, right? So you carry on working for your South African company, but you go live in a beautiful place. These are decisions which sound great, but if you can't work through it with a planner and evaluate the options, you may not be inclined to take action, right? Which is what we want to help clients do, is ultimately take action to live the life that they want.
Yeah. And I think another important thing, Mark, is that when you're in your 40s, it's probably the stage in your life where there's the largest accumulation of assets. You've maybe worked your way up the ladder a little bit, and now you're starting to aim towards certain titles. And as you get those jobs, maybe there's new things that come along, like a share portfolio or shares in the company, and they don't know how does that work and what does that look like. They might need some advice around there. You're earning more money. So are you using that money to the best advantage to accumulate your wealth, generational wealth? Are you creating it, and those kind of things?
Yeah, Ben, I think between 40 and 50, you're probably set on your path, right? So you're either stepping out of the corporate world and starting the business, or you're 2 feet in the corporate world and you're climbing, right? So naturally, you're going to be earning more. And you need to use this time to put those assets to good use, right? So it's income on one side, but it's also, like you say, different bonus structures. So are we getting share options? Are we getting cash? And how do we utilize those assets to really grow, right? So to accumulate sufficiently so that when you hit your 50s, it's not too late. We'll touch on 50s another day, but 40 to 50 is really about earning well, putting the assets to good use, and setting yourself up for the final stages to come.
Yeah. So I think what we're trying to say is the only constant in life is change. So there's going to be some changes happening. It's not you don't want to have a financial plan that's drawn up one day and that's it for the rest of your life. There's going to be constant things to be thinking about, talking about, changing. Your career is changing, your life is changing. There could be divorce, there could be a second marriage. There's so many things that are happening in your life. And that's why it's always so important to navigate that together with someone who's drawing out your financial plan or showing you your life as you're living it.
Ben, yeah, I think maybe just to wrap up, in the beginning, you said it's so much more than just selling products. Working with a lifestyle financial planner who understands the transitions that you're going to face during this period of your life is massively valuable, right? You as the client may not even know what these decisions are, what the things you should be looking out for during this period are. But, we've worked through these examples with our clients. Obviously, every client situation is unique, but we know what to look out for, right? We know what you should be doing, what you should be thinking, how you should be using your assets. And I think that's where the real value comes in. It's not about selling you a life cover or an RA or a share portfolio. It's about taking you through the steps and maybe even pointing out what it is that you should be looking for. What's on your horizon that you need to pay attention to and address.
Yeah. So in one word, Mark, should you be using a financial advisor in your 40s?
Definitely, Ben.